After many painful minutes, the forest opened into a wide, dark stream. The water flowed fast. The moonlight touched it gently. Obiora dropped to his knees, carrying Adaeze carefully. He breathed hard, almost collapsing. Adaeze touched his face. Obiora, you carried me all the way. His voice trembled. I will carry you 1,000 times if I must. But their moment did not last. A loud shout came from behind. There they are, by the river. Adaeze gasped and held Obiora's arm. Obiora pulled her close. We must cross now. Hold my hand. He helped her step into the water. It was cold, very cold. The water reached their ankles, then their knees, then their waists. Adaeze shivered. Obiora, I am scared. Do not fear. Look at me. I am with you. They continued crossing, but the guards reached the riverbank. Torches lit the night. Spears pointed forward. Voices thundered. Stop there! Come back! A moment later, a powerful voice cut through the night. A voice filled with anger. A voice filled with power. Stop this foolishness! Adaeze froze in the water. Obiora stopped too. They turned slowly, standing at the edge of the river, dressed in heavy beads, holding a large staff. Eyes burning with rage was Chief Ezokafo. Adaeze gasped. Her whole body went cold. Obiora's fist tightened. The chief stepped forward. Adaeze, come out of that river right now. How dare you run away from my house? Have you gone mad? Have you lost your mind? Adaeze shook. Her lips trembled. She could not speak. Obiora stepped in front of her protectively. The chief pointed at Obiora. You, young boy, you again. You think you can steal my wife? You think you can shame me? You think you can fight me? Obiora's heart beat hard, but he did not step back. She is not your wife. You forced her. You bought her like a goat. You made her suffer. You hurt her. You destroyed her life. Adaeze cried softly behind him. The chief shouted, Guards, catch him. Bring him out of the water. The guard stepped forward, but the chief lifted his hand sharply. Wait, let me talk first. He glared at Adaeze. His voice turned calm, too calm, dangerously calm. Adaeze, come back home. I will forgive you. I will pretend you did not try to run away. Come back home now. Adaeze bowed her head and cried. Her voice broke. I cannot stay with you again. I cannot live in your house. I cannot breathe in that place. I will die. The chief's face changed. His eyes hardened. His voice sharpened. So you chose the boy over a chief. You chose suffering over wealth. You chose disgrace over honor. Adaeze cried harder. Obiora pulled her close. The chief pointed his staff at them. If you take one more step into that forest, you will become strangers to this village forever. Nobody will help you. Nobody will protect you. You will suffer. Do you understand? Obiora looked him straight in the eyes. We would rather suffer together than live in that prison you call a house. The chief's face twisted with anger. Then you have chosen your death. Guards, catch them now. The guards ran into the river immediately. Obiora panicked. He grabbed Adaeze's hand and pulled her deeper into the water. Adaeze, run. Do not stop. Do not look back. Adaeze tried to move. but her injured ankle made her scream. She fell into the water. Obiora! He lifted her quickly, but the guards were too close. One guard swung his spear. Obiora dodged it. Another guard grabbed his shoulder. Obiora elbowed him. Adeze cried, Obiora, please don't die. I will not leave you, he shouted. He punched one guard, kicked another, but there were too many. Adeze tried to crawl away. A guard grabbed her wrapper. She screamed, let me go! Leave me! Obiora ran toward her, but a guard hit him hard on the back with a spear handle. He fell into the water. Adeze screamed his name, Obiora! Obiora! He struggled to stand, but before he could reach her, two guards lifted Adeze out of the water. Another guard held Obiora down. The chief walked slowly to the riverbank. His voice was calm but full of thunder. You thought you could escape me, Adeze. You thought I would allow a boy to take what belongs to me? You have insulted me, both of you. There is a price for this. Adeze cried and shook her head. Please, do not hurt him. Punish me if you want. Leave him. The chief laughed loudly, a bitter laugh. You still love him, even now, even after marrying me. Foolish girl. He turned to the guards. Take her home. Tie her inside the inner hut. She will not step outside again. Adeze screamed, No, Obiora, Obiora, do not let them take me. Obiora fought harder. Adeze, Adeze. Two guards forced Adeze away. She cried and stretched her hands toward Obiora. Her voice crackled. Obiora, I love you. Please. Her voice disappeared as they carried her away. The chief walked down into the shallow part of the river where Obiora lay beaten and tired. Obiora glared at him with weak but fearless eyes. The chief leaned closer. Young boy, let this be the first and last time you will chase a woman that does not belong to you. You are lucky I am not killing you today. The gods are in the sky. They are watching. But if you try this again, you will not leave the next river alive. Obiora spat blood into the water. His voice shook with anger and heartbreak. You will never know peace. You will never know love. You may force her body, but her heart will never be yours. Never. The chief's eyes narrowed. He raised his staff. For a moment, it looked like he would strike Obiora dead. The guards watched silently. The river whispered. The trees stood still. But after a long moment, the chief lowered the staff. Leave him. He is nothing. He turned and walked away. The guards threw Obiora into the riverbank like a sack and followed the chief. Soon, the forest grew quiet again. The footsteps disappeared, but Obiora lay there, alone, broken, breathing heavily. The river carried away his tears. Minutes later, Obiora pushed himself up with shaking arms. He could barely stand. His whole body hurt. His heart felt empty. He whispered Adeze's name softly. Adeze! Adeze! No answer, only silence. He leaned against a tree, fighting tears. He knew she was gone, taken again, locked again, suffering again, and he could not save her. He looked up at the sky. Gods, why? Why do you allow wicked men to win? Why do you let innocent hearts break? Why? He cried quietly, but he did not collapse. He did not give up. He dragged himself back towards the village slowly. One step, Then another, then another. He whispered, Adaeze, this is not the end. One day, I will return for you. I do not know how. I do not know when, but I will. It is a promise. Adaeze lay in the dark hut, her hands tied, her eyes swollen, her spirit shattered. She whispered, Obiora, forgive me. Forgive me. The chief's wives watched her through the window. Some smiled, some whispered, some shook their heads, but Adaeze did not look at them. She only stared into darkness, her heart breaking slowly, her soul crying loudly. She whispered again, Obiora, I know you tried. I know you fought. I know you love me. She closed her eyes. But maybe love was not meant for us. A tear fell, and the night swallowed her sadness. The whole village of Omuagu believed Obiora was dead. After the chief's guards beat him at the riverside, nobody heard from him again. The young boys who later went to the river to fetch water said they saw blood on the sand. The women who went to wash clothes said they saw footprints dragged towards the bush. Many people shook their heads and said, Obiora is gone. The boy is gone. Only one person did not believe it fully, his mother. Every evening, the woman sat at the front of her small hut, staring at the path that led to the river. She held her wrapper tightly around her chest and prayed silently. My son, wherever you are, may the gods protect you. May you not die like a goat. But deep inside her heart, even she feared the worst. Night after night passed, and no one saw Obiora again. His friends cried. Young girls whispered his name with pity. Ah, the boy who loved Adaeze. He is gone. But Obiora did not die. After the chief's guards beat him until he could not move, they left him in the bush. They believed he would bleed until he died. But Obiora refused to die. He felt something burning inside him. Anger, shame, love, pain, everything together. He could not lift his legs at first, so he dragged himself like a wounded animal. His breath was heavy. His head was spinning. His body shook like someone with fever. But still, he crawled deeper into the forest. He was looking for a place to hide, a place where the chief's guards would not find him again. Because if they returned and saw he was still alive, they would finish the job. As he dragged himself forward, he kept whispering Adaeze's name. He did not even know he was whispering. His mouth was just moving on its own. Adaeze, Adaeze, Adaeze. After a long time, the moon came out from behind the clouds. Its light fell on his body, showing the marks on his back, the wounds on his face, and the deep cuts on his leg. His clothes were torn, and blood covered his skin like red paint. When he finally reached a part of the forest where the trees were close together, he collapsed beside a fallen tree. He closed his eyes, thinking he was taking a short rest, but he did not open them again for a very long time. Obiora did not know how many hours or days had passed. He heard voices, but they were not clear. He felt hands on his body, but he did not know if they were human hands or spirits from the forest. When he opened his eyes, he only saw shapes moving around him. The shapes spoke in low voices. Is he alive? Yes, but he is weak. Should we leave him here? No, he is a child of the land. We will help him. Obiora tried to speak, but no voice came out. He tried to lift his head, but it was too heavy. All he knew was that someone lifted him from the ground. Someone poured water into his mouth. Someone tied leaves on his wounds. Someone rubbed herbs on his skin. Someone carried him into a hidden part of the forest that ordinary villagers never entered. When he finally regained full sense, he found himself inside a small hut made of sticks, leaves, and bamboo. The roof was covered with thick leaves. The hut smelled of herbs, smoke, and forest air. A small fire burned in the middle, and warm steam filled the space. Obiora struggled to sit up. A deep voice said, "You are awake." He turned slowly. A tall man with grey hair and a muscular body stood near the fire. The man wore only a simple wrapper around his waist. His chest was strong and scarred like someone who had fought many battles. His eyes were sharp and calm at the same time. Who are you?" Obiora asked with a weak voice. The man answered, "They call me Nana the Wanderer." Obiora had heard that name before. Old people in the village spoke of a man who lived deep inside the forest. They said he knew the ways of the land. They said he walked with spirits. They said he was once a great warrior before he chose to live the village life. Obiora swallowed hard. Why did you help me?" Nana sat down beside him. "Because the forest brought you to me, and because the gods have plans for you." Obiora blinked. "Plans?" "Yes," Nana said softly. "You are not meant to die yet. Your story is not finished." The first few days were very hard. Obiora's body hurt every moment. His back burned. His chest ached. His legs swollen. Sometimes he cried in his sleep. Sometimes he woke up shouting Adize's name. Nana would sit quietly beside him and watch him. "You fight even when you are sleeping," the old warrior said. Obiora looked away. He felt ashamed. "I could not protect her," he whispered. "She is suffering because I am weak." "You are not weak," Nana said. "You only lack training." Obiora slowly lifted his eyes. "Can you make me strong?" Nana studied him for a long time before answering. "I can teach you how to fight. I can teach you how to survive. I can teach you how to read the forest, how to stand like a warrior, how to move like the wind. But strength alone will not win your battles." Obiora frowned. "What else do I need?" "Wisdom," Nana replied. "Patience, self-control, courage, and a heart that knows when to fight and when to wait." Obiora nodded slowly. He wanted all of it. When Obiora's wounds healed enough for him to stand, Nana took him deeper into the forest where the trees formed a wide circle. This was his training ground. "Before you learn to fight," Nana said, "you must learn to breathe." "To breathe?" Obiora asked. "Yes, a warrior who cannot control his breath cannot control his body." Every morning, before the sun rose, Obiora stood barefoot on the cold ground, breathing in and out slowly, while the forest woke up around him. At first, it felt useless. He wanted to start fighting immediately. He wanted to run, punch, kick, and become strong quickly. But Nana made him repeat the same breathing exercise again and again. "You must calm your anger," Nana said. "If your heart jumps like a scared goat, your body will fail you." Then came walking practice. "You walk too loud," Nana told him. He taught Obiora how to step on the ground without making sound, how to move between trees like a shadow, how to watch everything around him, how to listen to the wind, the birds, the leaves, the movement in the bush. After some days, Nana finally gave him a wooden staff. Now, he said, we begin real training. Obiora learned how to hold the staff, how to defend himself, how to block attacks, how to strike with speed, how to use the ground to his advantage. Many times, Nana overpowered him easily. Obiora fell to the ground again and again. Sometimes he got angry. Sometimes he cried. Sometimes he hit the ground with frustration. But Nana never shouted at him. Get up, he would say. Again. Slowly, Obiora learned. Slowly, he improved. Slowly, he grew stronger. Weeks passed, then months. Obiora's body changed. His shoulders widened. His arms became firm. His legs grew stronger and steady and fast. His eyes became sharp. He was no longer the thin, soft village boy who loved Adaeze. He was becoming something else, something stronger, something dangerous. One night, after a long day of training, Nana sat by the fire with Obiora rested on the ground, breathing heavily. The old man looked at him and said, do you know why the forest brought you to me? Obiora sat up. No, why? Nana looked into the fire. Because you are part of a storm that is coming. A storm? Yes, a storm that will touch the chief who beat you. A storm that will shake Umuago. A storm that will change lives and break chains. Obiora felt like his heart beat faster. What has that got to do with me? Nana turned to him, his eyes glowing like firelight. You are meant to stand at the center of it. Obiora swallowed. Me? Yes, you. The gods have given you a path, a hard path, a painful path. But if you walk it, you will become more than you can imagine. Obiora's voice shook. And Adaeze, where does she fit into the storm? Nana sighed slowly. Her own journey is also painful. She is not lost, but her suffering is not yet over. Obiora's chest tightened with fear. She is in danger? Nana nodded. Yes, and the one who took her will soon face the anger of the spirits. Obiora clenched his fist. Teach me everything. I must save her. Nana raised a hand gently. You will, but you must not rush. When the time comes, you will know. Several moons passed. Obiora trained, fought, learned, and transformed. He could now climb trees faster than he used to run on the ground. He could jump over falling logs without losing balance. He could strike a moving target with deadly speed. One morning, a young hunter came into the forest to check his traps. He did not know that Obiora and Nana lived in that hidden place. He only walked around looking for animals. But Nana watched him from afar. When the boy left, Nana called Obiora. Today, I heard something from the wind, Nana said. Obiora frowned. What did you hear? The chief's wives are fighting him. His house is breaking, and your Adaeze. Nana paused. Obiora stepped forward. What about her? She escaped. Obiora froze. Nana continued. She is alive. She is running. The chief is searching for her everywhere. Obiora's heart almost burst. He felt joy and fear together. She is alive, he whispered. She is alive. Yes, Nana said quietly. But she is alone and she is weak. The forest tests her. The night tests her. And the chief haunts her. Obiora stepped back, breathing hard. I must find her. You will. Nana replied. But if you leave before you are fully ready, you may fail again. Obiora lowered his head. The memory of the beating burned inside him. No, he said slowly. This time, I will not fail. I will find her and I will protect her. The next day, Nana gave Obiora something he had never seen before. A fine wooden staff with carved patterns, smooth and strong, polished with oil. This staff, Nana said, belongs to one who is ready. Obiora held it with shaking hands. Am I ready? He asked softly. Nana touched his shoulder. You are almost ready. Almost? Obiora asked. Yes. One thing remains. What is it? You must face me in a real fight. No holding back. Obiora hesitated. Nana stepped back and raised his own staff. The final test begins now. The forest became silent. Even the wind seemed to wait. Obiora stood firm, holding his new staff. His heart beat fast. Sweat covered his hands. Nana moved first. He struck with speed. Obiora blocked. Nana struck again. Obiora dodged. The old man moved like a spirit. He was fast and strong, but Obiora had trained for months. He matched him move for move. Every strike echoed through the clearing. Wood hitting wood, feet hitting ground, breathing, sweat, strength, will. Obiora stumbled once. He fell once. He got hit twice. But he stood again and again and again. At last, Nana lifted his staff for a final heavy strike. Obiora saw it coming. He moved to the side, turned quickly, and struck Nana's staff so hard that it flew out of the old man's hands and landed on the ground. Silence. Nana looked at him with pride. You are ready, he said. Obiora breathed out slowly, his chest rising and falling. For the first time since the beating, he felt whole. Now, Nana said, go and find your destiny. Obiora tightened his grip on the staff. And go and find Adeze. The night Adeze escaped was one she would never forget. It was the first night in many weeks that she felt air on her skin, not the hot, choking heat of the small inner hut where the chief locked her. She could still hear the angry voice of Ezokafo from the evening, the way he shouted at his wives, the way he shouted at the guards, the way the entire compound shook with fear. But the escape did not happen by chance. It happened with a whisper. Inside the inner hut where Adeze was kept, one of the older wives, Mama Ifunanya, came quietly with a small lamp. She was a woman of about 50 years old, her back slightly bent from years of farm work. She had been in the chief's house for many years and had seen many things, too many. Stand up, she whispered. Adeze opened her eyes slowly. She looked weak, thin and tired. Her wrapper hung loose on her body. She had not eaten well for days. Mama Ifunanya touched her shoulder gently. My daughter, you must leave this place tonight. Adeze blinked. Leave? But where can I go? Anywhere is better than here. The woman whispered. If you stay, you will die. Adeze shook her head slowly. He will catch me. If he catches you, Mama Ifunanya said softly, then you should pray for death, because the next thing will be worse. Adeze shivered. The woman sighed and pulled out a small bag. Take this. There is roasted yam and dried fish inside. It will help you. Adeze held the bag with trembling hands. How will I escape? She asked. Mama Ifunanya looked towards the door, listening to be sure no one was coming. I have already told the guards that you were sleeping. I put herbs at the door so they will feel dizzy and not check inside. When I moved the mat, You must crawl out quietly. Adeze felt tears fill her eyes. Why are you helping me? Mama Ifunanya smiled sadly. Because I was once like you, young, beautiful, full of dreams, but I lost everything in this house. If I can help you keep even one dream alive, I would do it. Adeze covered her mouth to stop her sobbing. Thank you, she whispered. Mama Ifunanya nodded. Go, and do not look back. She moved the mat away from the door. The cold night air rushed in. Adeze slipped out quietly, carrying the small bag close to her chest. Before she ran, she turned back for one last look. Mama Ifunanya whispered again, Run, my daughter, run! Adeze ran. As soon as Adeze left the compound, her heart beat fast like a drum. She felt the cool night air on her skin. The moon was not bright, but it was enough for her to see the path. She ran past the big mango tree near the compound. She ran past the small farm. She ran past the stream. She ran past sleeping huts. Every sound frightened her. The whistle of the wind, the cry of a night bird, the rustling of the leaves. Everything sounded like footsteps of someone following her. But she kept running. She did not know where she was going, but she knew she must leave Chief's land far behind. After a long time, when her legs felt heavy, she slowed down. She reached a thick part of the forest and sat under a tree. She was breathing fast, holding her chest. She opened the small bag Mama Ifunanya gave her. She ate a small piece of yam. Tears dropped from her eyes as she chewed slowly. I am free, she whispered. But even she did not believe the words fully. Adeze stayed in the forest the rest of the night. She was too frightened to sleep. She kept her head up like a scared animal. She hugged her knees, trying to stay awake, trying to stay warm. The forest was dark, wide, and full of sounds. Owls called, crickets sang, leaves moved like something was crawling in them. Every time she heard a sound, she held her breath. Anytime a branch snapped, she felt her heart jump. When morning finally came, she stood up and looked around. Her legs were dirty with mud. Her wrapper had grass and leaves stuck to them. Her hair was rough. She felt tired, but she knew she could not rest. If the chief's guards woke up and discovered she was gone, they would begin searching for her. She walked deeper into the forest. Hours passed. Sweat covered her body. Mosquitoes bit her arms and legs. Her stomach growled in hunger. She tried to eat from her small food bag again, but she remembered she needed the food to last. She took only small bites. By afternoon, the sun was hot. Adeze found a place under a big tree where she could sit. She sat down slowly. Her feet were swollen. Her back ached. She felt her eyes becoming heavy. I will just rest for a moment, she whispered. But she fell asleep without knowing. While Adeze slept, she had a dream. She saw herself standing in the middle of a big field. The sky was dark. The wind was strong. She felt like something was pulling her backward. Then she heard a baby crying. She looked down. There was a baby in her arms. She tried to look at her baby's face, but it was blurry. She could not see the eyes or the nose or the mouth. She only heard the cry, a loud, painful cry. Then she felt hands grabbing her shoulder. Strong hands. She turned and saw the chief, Chief Ezokafo, pulling her backward. You cannot run from me, he shouted. Adeze screamed and woke up. Her heart raced. Sweat covered her face. She touched her stomach. It felt strange. It felt heavy. Something inside her made her freeze. No, she whispered. It cannot be. She placed her hand again on her stomach, pressing it gently. Something moved inside her. Adese's hand shook. No, no, no. Her breath became fast. Her eyes became wide. She knew what that movement meant. She was pregnant. Adese cried until her chest hurt. How will I survive? She asked the empty forest. Where will I go? She cried until her voice became weak. Later that evening, she continued walking, her hands shaking with fear and confusion. Every step felt heavy. She kept looking down at her stomach. Is this child his? She asked herself with pain. She thought of Obiora. She imagined his face. She remembered the river. She remembered his beating. She cried harder. I am alone, she whispered. I am truly alone. But she was wrong. Something was watching her. When the sun started to set, Adese became lost. The forest looked the same everywhere. She did not know where she was going. She turned left, then right, then left again. But she was only going in circles. She stopped near a small stream and drank a little water with her hands. The water tasted fresh, but it did not give her strength. As night fell, she knew she could not keep walking. She needed shelter. She found a small cave-like space under a large rock. It was narrow but deep. She crawled inside. The ground was cold. The air was damp, but it was safer than sleeping outside where animals could find her. She wrapped her arms around herself. Suddenly, she heard movement. Her breath stopped. Something was walking outside the cave. Slow steps. She held her mouth with her hand. The steps stopped right outside. Adese closed her eyes tightly. Then she heard a woman's voice, a calm, soft voice. My child, the voice said. Come out, you are safe. Adese opened her eyes slowly. Was she dreaming again? The voice came again, even softer. Do not fear. I am not here to harm you. Adese crawled out slowly. Standing in front of her was an old woman with a long wrapper tied around her chest. She held a wooden staff and had many beads on her neck. Her hair was white. Her eyes were sharp but gentle. Who are you? Adese asked. I am Iyom Nneka. The woman said, people call me the healer of the deep forest. Adese stepped back. How did you find me? The woman smiled. The forest brought you to me. Iyom touched Adese's face gently. You are weak. You have not eaten well for many days. Adese nodded with tears in her eyes. The woman lifted Adese's chin. And you carry life inside you. Adese began crying again. I do not know what to do. The old woman held her hand. Come with me. Let me help you before you break. Adese followed her slowly. The woman led her through a narrow path hidden by trees and vines. They walked for a long time until they reached a small clearing with a round hut made of red mud and a roof of palm leaves. The hut looked simple but peaceful. Inside, the air smelled of herbs and clean smoke. The woman boiled water, prepared food, and gave Adese a warm drink. Drink, she said. This will calm your spirit. Adese drank slowly. Her body relaxed a little. Iyom watched her for a while. Tell me your story, the woman said. And Adese told her everything. From the day the chief noticed her, to the first marriage, to the suffering in the compound, to the beating of Obiora, to her escape. The old woman listened quietly, without interruption. When Adeze finished, the woman touched her stomach gently. This child is innocent, she said softly, but you must grow strong if you want to protect your life. Adeze wiped her tears. Will you send me away? No, Iyom answered. You will stay with me. You will heal. You will learn. You will find your strength. Adeze looked up at her with tearful eyes. Why are you helping me? The woman smiled. Because every suffering child of this land deserves protection. Days passed. Adeze stayed in the hut. Iyom treated her wounds, gave her herbs, told her stories, and taught her wisdom. Adeze began to eat better. She began to sleep better. She cried less. She smiled a little. She learned how to breathe and calm her fears. Iyom often sat beside her and said, You are not weak. You are wounded, but wounds heal. One day, the woman touched Adeze's stomach again. The child grows, she said. You must be brave. Adeze nodded slowly. I will. I will try. You will do more than try. Nneka replied. You will rise. Adeze looked into the woman's eyes. For the first time in many months, she felt safe. The chief's compound was no longer the same. Ever since Adeze escaped, a strange shadow covered the place. It felt like the land refused to rest. The goats became restless at night. The chickens refused to lay eggs. Even the trees near the compound looked dry, as if something had sucked life out of them. Ezokafo walked around with a dark face every day. His footsteps echoed like thunder. His voice shook the walls. The guards feared him. The wives feared him even more. The young girls who used to sweep the compound walked with their heads down. Everyone felt the storm inside him, but no one felt it deeper than he did. Since Adeze ran away, Ezokafo had not slept well. Every night, he tossed and turned. Every night, he heard strange sounds only he could hear. Sometimes he woke up shouting. Sometimes he felt like someone was touching him. Sometimes he dreamed of Adeze running from him, calling for help. Sometimes he saw her crying with a baby in her arms. Each night, he woke with sweat covering his face. His wives watched him from afar, whispering to each other. His madness is starting. The spirits are angry with him. It is Adeze's tears. They followed him. But no one dared to say it to his face. One day, after waking from another frightening dream, Ezokafo jumped from his bed and shouted, She cannot escape me. She belongs to me. I paid for her. His voice carried across the compound. One of the younger wives woke up shaking. Another held her baby and covered the child's ears. No one stepped out to calm him. Everyone was too scared. Ezokafo grabbed his walking stick, shook it in the air and screamed, I will find her. Even if she hides under the ground, I will find her. His voice echoed into the night, mixing with the cry of an owl. Some old women who heard it from their huts shook their heads sadly. This man is cursed, they whispered. The next morning, the wives gathered secretly behind the small kitchen area. They spoke in low tones, looking around to make sure no guards were nearby. Mama Ifunanya, the same wife who helped Adeze escape, was there. Her face looked tired, but her eyes were sharp. We cannot live like this any longer, she whispered. The other wives nodded. He shouts every night. He beats us for small things. He's not himself again. Since Adeze left, he has become worse. One of the younger wives, barely 20 years old, sighed deeply. If he finds Adeze, he will kill her. Mama Ifunanya closed her eyes for a moment. The girl has suffered enough. She did not deserve this life. A heavy silence followed. Finally, one of the wives spoke in a trembling voice. What do we do? We cannot fight him. He will kill us. Mama Ifunanya looked at all their faces. She spoke slowly, choosing each word carefully. We cannot fight him with sticks or hands, but we can speak. Speak? To who? A wife asked. To the elders, Mama Ifunanya replied. The wives gasped. One of them held her chest. Do you want to kill us? If he hears that we went to the elders, he will bury us alive. Mama Ifunanya shook her head. I do not care anymore. We must speak the truth. If we all go together, the elders will listen. Another wife whispered, and if they refuse? Mama Ifunanya's voice became steady. Then we will decide our own fate. But silence is killing us slowly. And it is killing Adaeze too. The wives looked at each other. Fear battled with courage in their eyes. At last, 3 wives raised their hands. We will go, they said. Mama Ifunanya looked at the sky and whispered, May the gods protect us. The wives did not go to the elders that day. They needed to plan. They needed to wait for the right moment. The chief had eyes everywhere, but the elders were already watching Ezokafo on their own. A strange air had been moving around the village, a feeling that something was wrong. For many weeks, people whispered about Adaeze. Some women cried when they remembered her gentle face. Some men shook their heads and said she was too young for such suffering. One of the elders, Nze Okiwe, spoke during a council meeting. There is trouble in Ozokafo's house. Another elder asked, What kind of trouble? Nze Okiwe rubbed his beard. The gods are angry. The other elders exchanged uneasy looks. What makes you say that? Nze Okiwe answered, Tell me why a man's goats die one by one overnight. Tell me why his crops refuse to grow when other crops grow well. Tell me why his wives walk around with swollen faces and bruised arms. Another elder clicked his tongue. This is serious. It is more than serious, Nze Okiwe replied. That young girl, Adaeze, escaped because her spirit was breaking. She was just a child. The elders became silent. One of them finally said, If Ezokafo has angered the gods, we must be careful. His trouble may spread to the whole village. The others nodded. Everyone felt something coming. Something heavy, something dangerous. 3 days later, the chief gathered all his guards in front of his compound. He carried his walking staff and stood with his chest pushed out, his eyes burning with anger. Search every forest path, he shouted. Search every bush. Search every hut in this village. You must find her. The guards nodded fearfully. If you come back with empty hands, he warned, I will punish you. I will punish all of you. The guards ran off quickly, wanting to avoid his anger. Villagers watched from far away. Some hid behind trees. Some whispered, He is looking for Adaeze. He will not find her. The gods are hiding her. He is going mad. Ezokafo stood alone in front of his compound and shouted into the air, Adaeze, you cannot run from me. I own you. A woman carrying firewood passed nearby and muttered under her breath, You own nothing but your wickedness. That night, something strange happened. Ezokafo woke up again, sweating. He felt a heavy presence in the room. The air became cold. He sat up slowly, shaking. Then he saw her, a shadow, a woman-shaped shadow. Adaeze? No, it was something else. The shadow moved closer and spoke with a voice that was not human. You have touched what the gods protected. Ezokafo froze. His mouth hung open. You will pay for every tear you caused, the voice said. The land has judged you. The chief screamed and threw his staff at the shadow, but it went through the figure like smoke. The shadow disappeared. Ezokafo fell to the ground, shaking like a child. The wives heard his scream and rushed to his door, but they did not enter. No one dared enter without being called. He lay on the floor until morning, breathing like someone being chased by death. The next day, something else happened. Ezokafo came out of his hut with red eyes and a trembling walk. The wives watched him from afar. He shouted at one guard over nothing. He slapped a house girl for dropping a bowl. He kicked one of the goats that blocked his path. But then, something strange happened. The goat he kicked looked at him and fell dead instantly. Everyone gasped. The wife screamed. The guard stepped back. Even Ezokafo took 2 steps backward. What is this? He whispered. He looked around, but the air felt heavy. He felt like something was watching him, something angry. One of the wives whispered to another, "It is a warning." Another added, "The gods have started." From that moment, the whole compound became silent and tense. Not even a child cried loudly. No one wanted to call attention from the spirits. By evening, the story had spread through all the corners of Umuago. People gathered in groups, whispering, "A goat died after he kicked it. The gods are sending messages. He has done something very evil. Adese's spirit is crying, and the gods are hearing it." Even those who respected Ezokafo now shook their heads with fear and disgust. The palm wine tappers whispered as they climbed trees. The market women talked while selling vegetables. The young boys shared the story like it was fire. The village spirit women, Dibia Mmaji, also heard the news. She looked toward Ezokafo's compound and said, "The land has rejected him." Later that night, Ezokafo walked around his compound like a madman. He shouted. He mumbled things no one understood. His eyes looked lost. The chief was no longer in charge of himself. The wives watched from their doors. "His fall has begun," Mama Ifunanya whispered. One of the younger wives asked, "What will happen to us?" "Stay quiet," Mama Ifunanya said. "The storm is not yet over." The following morning, the elders summoned the chief for a meeting. When the message reached him, he became very angry. "Why should they call me?" he shouted. "I am the chief. They cannot question me." But even he knew he could not refuse. He prepared himself and walked to the elder square. Villagers followed him from a distance. Some whispered, some spat on the ground. When he sat before the elders, Nze Okigwe spoke first. "Ezokafo," he said calmly, "something is wrong in your house." The chief raised his chin proudly. "Nothing is wrong. Everything is under control." One elder shook his head. "No, nothing is under control. The land is speaking, and when the land speaks, we elders must listen." Another elder added, "Your wives suffer. A young girl in your house suffered. You have angered the spirits." Ezokafo stood in anger. "You dare speak to me like this? I am Ezokafo the Great. I am..." "Enough!" Nze Okigwe said firmly. Everyone fell silent. The chief froze. No one had spoken to him like that in years. Nze Okigwe leaned forward. "Your pride will bury you. The gods have given warnings. If you do not change, the land will reject you fully." Ezokafo's throat felt tight. For the first time in his life, he felt fear. Not fear of man, but fear of something bigger. He walked away from the elders with shaking hands. The elders watched him go. The storm has begun, one said. The gods will finish what they started, another replied. The forest had its own way of speaking. When wind blew through the leaves, it sounded like whispers. When birds cried, it felt like messages. When trees bent, it felt like they were watching. As Obiora continued training with Nana, the wanderer, and as Adeze healed with Iyom, the forest carried their names like secrets. Obiora, Adeze, Obiora, Adeze. Two people who loved each other. Two people who suffered because of one wicked man. Two people who were now far apart, were walking slowly toward each other without knowing. Something was changing. Something was moving. A storm was coming. Obiora woke before sunrise each day. He had been living in the deep forest with Nana for many moons. His body was stronger. His mind was sharper. His heart was harder, but still soft in one corner. The soft corner belonged to Adeze. Every morning, he stood at the edge of the training ground and looked up at the sky. Where is she? He whispered. Nana walked close to him one morning and saw the worry on his face. You think of her every day, the old man said calmly. Obiora nodded. I feel something pulling me, something telling me she's out there. She is, Nana replied, but she's not safe yet. Obiora turned quietly. Is she in trouble? Nana picked up a dry leaf and crushed it between his fingers. The forest speaks. It says she's running. It says she's hiding. It says she carries life inside her. Obiora froze. Life? What do you mean? Nana looked at him with calm seriousness. She is pregnant. Obiora dropped his staff. His hand covered his mouth. His word shook. Pregnant. Adeze. His Adeze. His heart began to beat so fast he felt dizzy. He whispered, Is the child mine? Nana did not answer quickly. He placed a hand on Obiero's shoulder. You must decide something today, he said. Do you want to look backward or forward? Obiora felt tears sitting in his eyes. I do not care who the father is, he finally said. I want her safe. I want her alive. Nana smiled slightly. Then, your heart is truly strong. Later that day, while Obiora trained, he felt something strange in the air, like a voice he could not hear with his ears, only with his heart. His staff moved faster. His steps became sharper. His eyes became brighter. Nana watched with interest. You are changing, the old man said. Obiora breathed heavily. I feel something inside me, like a fire. The fire will guide you, Nana replied, but you must control it. Obiora tightened his grip on the staff. When will I be ready to leave? He asked. Nana looked up at the sky. The time is close, he said, very close. The forest will tell us when it is time. Obiora nodded, but his heart was restless. He wanted to find Adeze. He wanted to protect her. He wanted to stop running from the chief's shadow. He wanted to rise. Far away, Adeze sat outside Iyom's hut. The old healer had given her herbs to drink every morning to help her body heal. Adeze's face looked a little brighter than before, but she still looked thin and tired. She sat on a small wooden stool and rubbed her stomach softly. Inside her stomach, the baby moved again. A small movement, a soft kick. Adeze breathed out slowly. Little one, she whispered, I do not know what will happen to us, but I will try. I will not give up. Iyom stepped out of the hut carrying a clay bowl of food. Eat, the old woman said gently. You must be strong. Adeze smiled faintly. Thank you, Mama. Iyom studied her face. You dreamed again last night, the healer said. Adeze lowered her eyes. Yes, you cried in your sleep. The woman continued. Tell me what you saw. Adeze swallowed hard. I saw Obiora standing beside a river. She whispered. He was calling my name, but I could not reach him. Something held me back. Iyom neck nodded slowly. The heart sees more than the eyes. Adeze looked confused. What do you mean, Mama? It means your spirit knows he is alive. The old woman said, and you two are not finished. Adeze stared at her stomach again. I do not know if he will accept me, she whispered. Iyom touched her shoulder. Love is stronger than fear, she said, and stronger than the pains of your past. Adeze closed her eyes and prayed silently. Obiora, wherever you are, please be safe. Please be alive. Back in Omago, word spread fast around the village. Many people were tired of the chief's madness. He no longer acted like a wise man. He acted like a dangerous man who belonged in the forest with wild animals. Men gathered at the palm wine place and talked in low voices. This can no longer continue. He is bringing trouble to all of us. What if the gods strike the village because of him? He has lost his mind. Women in the market whispered. The girl Adeze ran for her life. She is only a child. Her tears must have reached the gods. Ezo Kafo will soon meet his end. Children ran around singing songs about the chief, though their mothers beat them lightly to stop. Do not sing that. If the chief hears, we are finished. But the children could not help it. They felt the fear in the air. They saw the signs. They knew something was happening. That evening, Nnanna sat by the fire while Obiora sharpened wooden sticks for training. The old man suddenly lifted his head and stared into the dark forest. What is it? Obiora asked. Nnanna did not blink. The forest is speaking, he whispered. Obiora put down the sticks. About what? Nnanna closed his eyes. He listened to something Obiora could not hear. Finally, he opened his eyes. It is time. Obiora stood quietly and quickly. Time for what? Time for you to begin your journey. Nnanna answered. The girl you love is no longer in danger of dying, but she is not safe. The chief hunts her, and the land is moving things toward you. Obiora felt his heart beat faster. I must go now, he said. Not tonight, Nnanna said. At sunrise, you will need your strength. Obiora wanted to argue. He wanted to run into the darkness and start searching immediately, but he respected Nnanna too much to disobey. He nodded. Nnanna looked at him again. You must remember something, the old man said firmly. The boy who was beaten at the river is gone. The man who goes to find Adeze must be stronger, wiser, and patient. Obiora breathed deeply and bowed his head. I will not fail, he said. That is good, Nnanna replied, because the path ahead is full of danger. At the same moment, Nnanna declared the time had come. Adeze sat outside the healer's hut, looking at the stars. She placed a hand on her stomach. The baby moved again, but something else moved too. Something inside her heart, a feeling, a soft pull, as if someone was calling her name. She whispered to the stars, Obiora, are you out there? Iyom came out slowly and sat beside her. You feel it, the old woman said. Adeze turned. Feel what? The turning, Nneka replied. Your destiny is moving. Something is coming towards you. Adeze looked frightened. Is it danger? The old woman shook her head. No, not danger. Something else. Something strong. Something old. Adeze exhaled. I do not understand. She did not know that at that same moment, Obiora was packing his things in the forest, preparing to begin his journey toward her. The gods were already guiding their steps. That same night, while the whole village was sleeping, Ezokafo had another strange dream. He saw a road filled with fire. He saw a shadow of a young woman holding a baby. He saw a boy standing tall with a staff in his hand. He saw the elders turning their backs on him. He saw the gods of the land pointing at him. Then he heard a voice that made his bones shake. You have touched what was holy. Ezokafo screamed and woke up. He sat on his bed shaking, sweat dripping from his face. He stood up and shouted, I am not afraid of anyone, not even the ghosts. But deep inside, he was afraid, very afraid. He did not know his days of power were getting fewer. He did not know the forest had chosen someone to rise against him. He did not know the storm was coming faster than he could escape. When the first light of sunrise touched the forest, Obiora stood ready. He wore a simple wrapper tied tightly. He held the fine carved staff Nana gave him. He carried a small bag of herbs and food. Nana stood before him. You will walk straight until you reach the old palm grove. The old man said, From there, the forest will guide you. Do not rush. Use your training. Trust your heart. Obiora bowed to him deeply. I will never forget what you taught me. Nana placed a hand on his head. Go, child of the land. Your destiny waits. Obiora took a deep breath and stepped into the forest. With each step, the air changed. With each step, his heart beat stronger. With each step, he moved closer to the girl who cried for him at night. A new journey had started, a journey filled with danger, love, and destiny. Obiora walked, and the forest walked with him. The sun had just risen when Obiora began his journey. The forest air was cool. Birds were waking. Dew still sat on leaves like tiny drops of glass. Obiora carried only a small bag, some herbs, and the carved staff that Nana, the wanderer, gave him. His body felt strong, but his mind was heavy with thoughts. He walked quietly. He followed the narrow paths only hunters and forest people used. The ground was soft. The trees stood tall. The forest sounds filled his ears. As he walked, he remembered Nana's words. The boy who was beaten at the river is gone. The man who goes to find Adese must be stronger, wiser, and patient. Obiora repeated those words in his heart, again and again like a song. I will not be weak again, he whispered. I will not fail this time. As the sun climbed higher, the forest grew hotter. Sweat rolled down Obiora's back. He wiped his face and stopped under a tree to rest. He listened to the forest around him. Something was wrong. The birds had gone quiet. The air felt heavy. He tightened his grip on his staff and slowly turned around, looking into the thick bushes. Then he heard it. A low sound, a soft growl, something breathing loudly. Obiora held his breath. From behind a group of bushes, a wild bush dog stepped out. It was big. Its body was thin but strong. Its eyes were sharp. Its teeth showed. It growled again. Obiora took a slow step backward. In the past, he would have run away, but now he remembered Nana's training. Running from fear makes fear chase you harder. Stand if you must fight. Move only when your mind is clear. Obiora did not shout. He did not wave his arms. He did not panic. He watched the animal. The animal watched him. It took one step. Obiora carefully lifted his staff. The animal growled. Obera lifted the staff a little higher and hit it on the ground hard. The sound echoed. The animal stopped. They stared at each other. Then slowly, the animal turned away and walked back into the bushes. Obera let out a long breath. His heart was beating fast, but he did not collapse. He did not fall. He did not cry. He smiled a little. "Thank you, Nana," he said quietly. "I am truly changing." Then he continued his journey. The same morning, far away, Adese was sweeping the small clearing in front of Iyom's hut. The old healer had given her a new wrapper, so she no longer wore the torn and dirty clothes from the chief's house. Her hair was woven into simple braids. Her face still looked small and tired, but there was more life in her eyes. She moved slowly but steadily. Her stomach had grown bigger. The baby inside was strong, kicking from time to time. At first, these moments scared her. Now, sometimes, she smiled when she felt them. "You are a fighter," she whispered to the baby, "just like the one I love." Iyom walked outside with a wooden spoon in her hand. "You woke early today," the old woman said. Adese smiled slightly. "I could not sleep long." "Why?" Iyom asked. "I had another dream," Adese answered. The healer sat on a stool and looked at her carefully. "Tell me," she said. Adese stopped sweeping. I held her broom close to her chest. "I saw Obiora again," she said slowly. "He was walking through a forest. He had a staff in his hand. His body looked different, stronger, like a warrior, but his face still looked sad." Iyom nodded slowly, not surprised. "And what did you feel in the dream?" she asked. Adese thought for a moment. "I felt hope," she said, "like he was coming closer to me. Not far, not hidden, close." Iyom smiled softly. "The bond between two true hearts is strong," she said. "Sometimes dreams carry messages from one heart to another." Adese looked down at her stomach again. "But I am afraid," she whispered. "If he finds me and learns that I am carrying a child, what will he think? What will he feel?" Iyom's voice became firm but gentle. "You must stop blaming yourself. Nothing that happened in that compound was your fault. You were forced. You were trapped. You survived. You did not sin. You endured." Adese's eyes filled with tears. "But the child is honest, not cutting, and you are still worthy of love." Adese wiped her eyes. "I want to believe that," she said quietly. "One day," Iyom replied, "you will see it with your own eyes." Back in Umago, instead of changing, Ezokafo became more hardened. He had stopped sleeping well. He drank more palm wine than usual. He shouted at everybody. One afternoon, he sat at the center of his compound, his eyes red, his face heavy. His first son, a quiet man named Chike, approached him carefully. "Father," Chike said, "the people are not happy." Ezokafo turned sharply. "What are you talking about?" "Men whisper against you in the palm wine place," Chike said. "Women complain in the market. Even the elders are not at peace. Father, this anger towards you is growing and it is very dangerous." Ezokafo hit the ground with his staff. "Let them talk," he shouted. "I am still the chief. None of them has the courage to stand before me and accuse me." Chike swallowed. "They say Adese suffered in this house. They say you forced her. They say her tears have reached the gods." Ezokafo stood up quickly. "That girl again," he shouted. "Everywhere I turn, it is her name I hear. Adese this, Adese that. She was only one girl. I have married many. Why is she different?" Chike looked at him calmly. Maybe, he said slowly, because you broke her spirit more than the others. Ezokafo raised his hand to slap his son, but stopped halfway. He lowered his hand, shaking. Leave my sight, he said coldly. Chike bowed and walked away. But his own heart was no longer with his father. He too was getting tired. As Ezokafo was losing hold on the village, Obiora continued walking through the forest. By late afternoon, he reached a familiar place, a river, not the same river where he was beaten, but another long-flowing stream that joined the main one later. The sound of running water calmed him. He knelt, drank some water with his hands, and washed his face. The cold water touched his skin and brought back memories. He remembered Adeze's laughter at the old stream near their village. He remembered how they used to meet there, how she balanced her pot on her head and smiled shyly. His chest became tight. He closed his eyes. Adeze, he whispered, I am coming. I am coming. Wherever you are, I am coming. He stood up and looked at the reflection of his face in the water. He looked older now, stronger, but his eyes were soft when he thought of her. He turned and continued his journey. Each step forward felt like a vow. Back at Iyom's home, Adeze was learning new things. The old woman did not only heal wounds, she also knew many things about plants, animals, the sky, and the ways of people. One day, you will need to take care of yourself, Uyom said. You cannot depend on someone to protect you forever. Not even Obiora, not even me. She showed Adeze leaves that could cure stomach pain. She showed her roots that could stop fever. She showed her seeds that could help a weak person gain strength. Adeze listened carefully. Her hands were gentle. Her eyes followed every movement. You learn fast, Uyom said. I do not want to be weak again, Adeze replied. But that evening, as she prepared to sleep, Uyom's face grew serious. The chief is restless, the old woman said. Adeze's body froze. How do you know? The wind brings voices, Uyom answered. Birds carry whispers. Hunters pass through the forest and talk. Ezokafo is not resting. He is sending men everywhere. He still searches for you. Adeze held her stomach. Will he find this place? She asked in fear. Uyom shook her head slowly. If the gods have hidden you here, no man will find you. But you must be careful. Don't be careless. I will not, Adeze replied. The day will soon come, Uyom said, when you must leave this hidden place and stand in the open again. When that time comes, your heart must be strong. Adeze looked at the small hut. She had begun to see it as a safe place. Must I really leave? She asked. Yes, Uyom replied firmly. Hiding is not living. You were not born to hide until death. You were born to stand. Adeze looked at her hands. They were not shaking as much as before. I will stand, she said quietly, more to herself than to Uyom. 2 days later, Obiora reached a point where the forest path divided into 3. Left, right, straight. All 3 paths looked the same. He stopped. He listened. He closed his eyes and remembered Nana's lesson. When you do not know which way to go, do not rush. The land speaks in soft ways. Feel the wind. Watch the leaves. Listen to your own spirit. Obiora stood very still. The wind touched his face very gently. Then it moved slowly toward the right path. The leaves on that side shook a little more than the others. Something in his chest also pulled slightly towards the right. He opened his eyes. He smiled. Right it is, he said. He turned onto the right path and walked on. Back in Omago, the elders had another meeting. Nze Okigwe spoke first. I had a dream, he said. The other elders listened carefully. In my dream, Okigwe continued, I saw the village square full of people. The chief stood in the middle. A woman with a child was crying. A young man with a staff was standing opposite the chief, and the earth between them opened and swallowed a snake. The elders exchanged looks. This is serious, one said. Another elder said, it means there will be a day of judgment. Yes, Nze replied, and we must be ready for it. When the time comes, we must stand for truth, not for fear. So what do we do now? Another asked. We watch, Okigwe said. We gather all stories. We listen to every whisper. The day is coming when we will no longer be able to stay silent. They all agreed. The elders were getting ready in their own way, just as Obiora and Adeze were getting ready in theirs. That night, Obiora made a small fire and sat beside it. He roasted some yam Nana gave him and ate slowly. The stars shone above him through the gaps in the trees. He looked up at them and spoke softly. Gods of this land, if you are truly watching, help me, help Adeze, help us find each other again. She has suffered too much. I too have suffered. Let our suffering not be for nothing. Far away, Adeze was also awake. She sat on her mat in Uyom's hut, her hand on her stomach. She looked at a wick fire in the corner of the room. She prayed in a small voice, Gods of the land, protect Obiora. If he is still alive, give him strength. Do not let him die because of me. If we meet again, let love still live in his heart, not anger. 2 hearts, 2 prayers, 1 night. The forest carried both prayers like wind. The land listened, and quietly, without noise, destiny moved closer. The sun was already falling when Obiora reached a thick part of the forest. The trees here were taller, the leaves were darker, the air felt colder. He walked slowly, using his staff to check the ground ahead. Nana had taught him that some places in the forest looked peaceful on the outside but carried danger inside. Obiora stopped when he heard something behind him. A footstep. Soft, slow, careful. He turned quickly, holding his staff ready. But it was not an animal. It was a man. A strange man. He was tall, lean, with sharp eyes and a face full of scars. He wore old brown wrappers tied tightly, and his hair was rough, like someone who had not seen a comb for many months. He stood still, watching Obiora. Obiora's heart beat fast, but he kept his voice steady. Who are you? The man did not answer immediately. He walked forward slowly, step by step, like someone testing if Obiora was brave or not. When he spoke, his voice was deep and rough. My name does not matter, he said, but I know your name. Obiora frowned. How? The man smiled in a strange way. The forest speaks, and your name has been carried by the wind for many days. Obiora tightened his grip on his staff. Do you want something from me? The man shook his head. I want nothing. I only came to warn you. Obiora's eyes narrowed. Warn me of what? The man looked around before speaking. Your journey is hot with danger. The chief you fear is losing his mind. The more he loses, the more violent he becomes. He has sent many men out. They are searching everywhere. Some of them walk close to this forest. Obiora felt his stomach tighten. He stepped closer. How do you know this? The man turned his face slightly. One of his scars ran from his forehead down to his cheek. I once worked for him, he said. I saw his true heart when I refused to join one of his wicked plans. He beat me and threw me out like trash. Obiora looked at the scars again and understood. You suffered because of him, Obiora said softly. The man nodded. Yes, and many others too. They stood in silence for a moment. The wind blew softly between the trees. Then the man spoke again. Be careful. The chief is not only looking for the girl. He is looking for anyone connected to her. If he finds you first, he will kill you. Obiora felt fire rising inside him. Not fear, but anger. I am not the small boy he beat before, Obiora said. I know, the man replied. I can see strength in your eyes. But strength is not enough. You must also use your mind. Obiora bowed his head slightly. Thank you, he said. But tell me one more thing. Do you know where the girl is? The man shook his head. No, the forest is big. But I can tell you this. He stepped closer and lowered his voice. She is alive. Obiora's heart jumped. And she's carrying life inside her. The man added. Obiora felt the ground shift under his feet. He closed his eyes. Yes, he whispered. I already know. The man stepped back. Your path will not be easy, he said, but the land is watching you. The gods will judge the end. Then, without another word, the man walked into the forest shadows and disappeared as if he had become part of the trees. Obiora stood alone, breathing slowly. The man's words echoed inside him. Alive, carrying life, danger close. Obiora lifted his staff. I will find you, Adese, he whispered, no matter what stands in my way. He continued his journey. Back at the healer's hut, Iyom sat with Adese again. The day had been quiet. The forest around the hut felt peaceful. A light wind blew through the leaves. Adese sat on a mat, rubbing her stomach. Her face looked soft, but fear sat behind her eyes. Iyom Neka watched her carefully. You are thinking too deeply, the old woman said. Adese not dead. I am afraid. What are you afraid of? Iyom asked gently. Adese bit her lower lips before speaking. I am afraid of the day Obiora sees me again, she whispered. I am afraid of what he will see first, me or the child. Iyom sighed. She reached out and held Adese's hand. You want to run from the truth, the healer said, but the truth will always walk beside you. Adese looked down at the mat. Iyom continued. You must accept what happened. You cannot change the past, but you can decide what you want your future to be. Adese closed her eyes and tears rolled down her cheek. What future? She whispered. I have nothing. No home, no family, no husband. I am carrying the child of a man I did not choose. Iyom shook her head slowly. You are wrong. Adese looked up. You still have life, Iyom said firmly. You still have a heart. You still have strength. You still have the chance to rise. Adese wiped her tears with the back of her hand. But what if Obiora hates me? She asked. Iyom smiled. Hate? She repeated softly. When two people's hearts are tied together, hate cannot stand between them. Adese held her stomach again. And this child, she whispered. Iyom touched her gently. This child is innocent. The child carries no fault. Do not blame the child for the hand that forced your suffering. Adaeze sobbed silently. The old healer pulled her closer and held her like a mother holding her hurting child. After a long time, Adaeze whispered, I want to be strong. You will be, Uyom said. The gods did not allow you to die because you still have a purpose. Adaeze nodded slowly, very slowly. She was beginning to believe.